Hi guys, welcome back to our Maine homestead. It's the middle of May. We've had snow flurries all morning, and I figured what better time than now to give you a tour of the spring greenhouse. I built this greenhouse a couple of summers ago. If you'd like to see the process of how I built a pole greenhouse, which is what this is, we put a link in on somewhere so you can find that pretty easily if you'd like to see that. So last summer was really the first time that I grew in it after I got the raised beds built. And got plants in a little late, but they still did really well. And then I had a fall garden last year which did excellent, and I was really pleased with being able to grow indoors and have a little extra heat and protection. And I grew things well into the winter, or kept things alive well into the winter, let me say that. And then this is the first spring that I've really used it, and so far everything's going great. So let me give you a kind of a quick tour and show you what's going on in here right now. So to start, I've got several trays of pepper and tomato and a few other things starts. These were started in 1020 flats, you know, in individual cells, and then have been transplanted into these cups just to give the roots a little more room than these 3-inch pots, which I like the cups better. They're flimsier, but I've got a ton of these, so I kind of just mix and matched. I like to experiment, so I'll maybe be able to tell if there's any difference, but you can see these, all these were done at the same time, and if you hold them up together, they're all about the same size. So, you know, I don't think there's any big difference at this point. But these are pepperoncinis. Over here, got some cauliflower. First year I'm growing cauliflower. These were started about the middle of March, so they're 6 or 7 weeks old. Same thing with the peppers. And then I've used part of this bed just to grow some short-term things that I'm going to grow in succession. So these are all radishes that were planted about 2 weeks ago. So they'll be, give them another week or so, and they'll be ready to harvest. And then back here, it's hard to tell, there's a lot of weeds in there, but I've got some carrots. There's a decent group of them that need to be thinned out, but I just planted 3 rows of carrots here, and those will stay in here all summer, of course. I'll probably, once these radishes are done, I'll probably plant another row or 2 of carrots, or maybe wait till the fall. I haven't decided yet. But so I grow these radishes in succession. So here's some baby radishes that I just planted last week, these here. And then these are beets. I love beet greens. I don't really like the beetroot, but I love the greens. So I plant all summer. I will plant several successions. And the great thing about beets, along with turnip greens, we do the same thing with kale, of course, and sometimes broccoli, depending on whether we're going to let the broccoli head or not. But you can cut, once it gets big enough, these aren't ready, but once it's big enough, you can cut several of the outer leaves, leave 2 or 3 leaves on each plant, and you can do that not indefinitely, but multiple times during the growth cycle. So come over here. This is a collard. I've got things kind of intermixed because if you'll see here, I've got mouse traps. I started plants again the first week of March. Got plants big enough to put in the ground, and mice ate almost everything that I had planted. Lettuce, arugula, beets, some turnips, spinach. They ate all my spinach. So things are kind of haphazardly mixed because I restarted seeds and then kind of put things where I could. I was able to save some plants, and then I just interplanted in between. But anyway, collards, those are 2 broccoli plants that I was able to save. I'll plant more broccoli this fall, but then in the back, more cauliflower that wouldn't fit in that other bed. Of course, these are beets. These are turnips, as are these big plants. I kind of maximize space when, just like with anything, you can run out of space really quickly. I like to grow things, so I kind of planted these a little closer, but as you can see, they're doing pretty well, even though they're planted so closely together. I think a lot of it has to do with they're getting sun coming in from all sides, so they're getting plenty of sunlight. It's not like they're very shaded at all. These are collards, along with the one big one there. And of course, over here, more beets, turnips kind of intermixed. And then these are kale. These kale, all of this was planted the first week of March, so they're about 6 weeks old, so they're doing really well. And then here's some more pepper starts with a few tomatoes, and some more pepper starts here that are doing pretty well. I'll try to give you size so you can see, because I've got some bell peppers which are much bigger than these. Started at the same time, but I guess they just grow quicker. And then down here, spinach, which is at various stages, and this is spinach that I had to restart after I killed 2 large mice, and I haven't killed any more, so I think, at least for now, I've got that under control. But so you can see they're doing really well. It's almost time to start harvesting some of those outer leaves as baby spinach. And I'll do these again. I'll plant succession, so I've already got some starts. I'll show you started, and then in another 3 weeks I'll start another round, and that's probably it for the summer. But this is romaine lettuce. I still haven't thinned it out. You can see there's 2 plants at each spot, so I'll end up taking one of those, or maybe not. I haven't decided yet. I'll show you where I've transplanted some others that are doing really well that aren't thinned. So this is more turnips, again, part of the succession. So those others were planted early that I was able to save, some I replanted, and then this is another round of successions that I've started, and then I've got another round already started as well. And again, we're middle of May, so things are going well. And these are arugula. I had extra plants. I put these 3 in a pot together, and the others got eaten, so I separated them out. That one little one back there was one that got eaten. I'm just holding on to it. Doesn't hurt anything to see if it ends up growing. Then moving around here, this was my hops plant that I grew last year. It was up to about 4 feet tall last week, but I had been trying to I did not have this section of raised bed, this little short section here built, and I wanted to build up a raised bed to add a few more hops plants, and then maybe come out from here, coming this way lengthwise in the greenhouse, and put some more hops plants that can grow up. They can grow up ropes, grow up to the top, and then grow across the greenhouse, and I would obviously tie them into these rafters here and grow them all the way across the greenhouse. That's the plan eventually. But anyway, so I split up a couple of plants from outside that had multiple, extra shoots, so you just dig them up. They're very easy to transplant. So last week I transplanted these, and so these are all Cascade hops, by the way. And that's the existing plant. That was already in the greenhouse, and you can see how much bigger of a plant it is. It's incredible how fast and how well it grew last year in the greenhouse. So here's one of the lettuces. This is a different type of romaine lettuce than what's over there, but you can see it's a good bit bigger. And there's 3 little plants there, so I haven't decided. I may thin one of them and eat it, let it get a little bigger, and see. This is just a plant from a lettuce mix. Don't really know what it is. I did basically a germination trial just to see if the seeds were still viable, and this is what I got, so it looks pretty good. And then this is a head lettuce. I had, again, extra seeds from like 4 years ago. And so I planted a few of them, and I got one good solid plant. So we'll see if it heads eventually. And then last but not least, down here on this end, This is cabbage that was started about the middle of March, I believe. So it's just about 8 weeks. Yeah. Oh, earlier I said 6 weeks, but yeah, it was really 8 weeks if you started middle, because it's already the middle of May. Time flies. But anyway, hit cabbage. So we'll see how well it does in the summer heat. But if not, I'm planning on planting some more cabbage, either in here or outside, you know, depending on space, for the fall. And you know, I'll kind of give you an update on things in here once we get kind of really into the growing season, and then I'll give you I'll do another video in the fall after I get the fall garden in, and kind of show you how well that works inside the greenhouse. So on to the starts. First time I'm growing kohlrabi. It's kind of like a turnip, I guess. Don't really know. I've never eaten it, but I just decided I wanted to grow it. It's a really good hardy winter plant, but it takes, I think the seed packet said 130 days to mature. So I started these real early. They need to be in the ground already. Just hadn't gotten around to it. And then another first timer back here is callaloo. Francesca's been doing dishes from all over the world, and she comes up with a different dish each week. One of them was from somewhere in the Caribbean, and callaloo is like a big green that they use in a lot of soups and that kind of thing. So I decided to grow some, and it's growing well. I don't really know what to do with it other than it's got to get in the ground, obviously. And then this is okra. First time I've grown okra, but I grew it. Everything sprouted really well, and then some started dying, and these don't all look 100% healthy, but they're hanging in there. So I just replanted 10 seeds, so you can see they're just now starting to come up. And then this here is Brussels sprouts. I've never grown Brussels sprouts. This is the first year, and it's really cold hardy. I see people harvesting it in the snow, so I'm hoping I'm gonna put it outside. And maybe, usually of all of this, I'll probably put 1 or 2 plants inside and then put the rest outside and compare. I like to experiment best I can. And then these are all starts. Some turnips, more arugula, beets. The red stem ones there are beets, if you can see that. Turnip, spinach, and then some lettuces. Just part of the successions, kind of keeping that going. And here are some of the bell pepper plants. I don't know if you can tell, but they're a good bit bigger, but still looking good. More pepper starts. That back there is a wild yarrow that I dug up out of the ground 3 years ago, and I've just kept it in this pot, and it's still hanging in there. That's a wild strawberry that was growing in one of the raised beds this spring, so I just pulled them up and kept them. So another thing I'm growing this summer that I'm going to try, first time, haven't done it, is tobacco. And these are all tobacco starts. Tobacco seeds are tiny, so you take them and you can't really plant one seed, so that's why there's multiple plants. But I tried to plant them in groups, so in rows. You can see it maybe better there. I planted 3 in a row right there. Of course, seeds get scattered everywhere, but I'm trying 6 different types of tobacco. I don't smoke, but I like to grow stuff, and that was just always interesting, so I wanted to try it. And here are some tomato starts. They're looking really good. Again, I think everything is benefiting from the sun, the extra sun that they get. They get a good bit of heat in our cabin. Obviously, we keep it at around 70 or a little warmer sometimes, but they don't get the sun. And down here, they really get sun. More bell peppers, and maybe some others mixed in there. They're all labeled. And then onions. The onions are looking really good. I fertilize these twice a week. I think the key is giving them fertilizer, which I use an organic fertilizer and a liquid fertilizer, and all the sun they get down here. So I think that makes a huge difference. And then last but not least, and you're not gonna be able to see these probably, but those are blueberries. I got some frozen blueberries from some friends that own a blueberry farm and a you pick 'em farm, and I stuck them in the blender, separated all the seeds out, dried them out, and then planted them. And these plants are tiny. I don't really know. I've never done this before. I don't know what to expect. But there's you know, 30, 40 plants in there. So hopefully they'll do well. So that's about it for the greenhouse tour at this point. Obviously got to get some more things in the ground and, you know, plan things out. That's the hardest part, is being sure you maximize your space. Like right here, I'll probably plant onions, as many as I can fit in there, you know, realistically, and then interplant onions. So I'll plant onions back there. I'll have to check and see if they're compatible with these plants first, of course. But then, like over here, once these radishes are out, you know, I'll put something else in there, and then I may plant onions here in front of these radishes and beets. You know, there's just a lot of options. And then cauliflower takes up a lot of room, so I could interplant some onions over there if need be. But I may plant some onions outside. So we'll just see how things go. So one of the big challenges of growing in a greenhouse like this, it's obviously covered in plastic, is temperature regulation. I've got 3 sides that I can roll up to allow for ventilation, allow it to cool down a little bit. Of course, I leave the door open, and I do that. Once it warms up in the summer, it stays open all summer. I put chicken wire up around to keep the birds out. I've got a chicken wire door outside of the regular door to keep them out. Still, first part of June, usually I have to put, last year I have to put shade cloth on to try and kind of keep too much sun from coming in here. For example, today it's 47 degrees outside. It's been up to 89 in here. Doesn't take much sun to get this place really warm. The downside is it doesn't hold temperature very well. So originally I had a barrel stove in here, and there's a bottle lamb that I let get out and follow me down here, and she wants in, but she inevitably jumps in my raised beds and eats my lettuce, so no. Anyway, so I had a barrel stove in here with the idea of keeping it warm enough in the spring and late fall to kind of keep things going. Certain plants like tomatoes, those things that are heat loving. It worked. It was just way too much work. You have to feed it constantly. You cannot let it die down. And these walls do not have any insulating effect at all. So once that fire dies down, the heat just dissipates because there's no insulation, obviously. If I had glass or, you know, triple or 5-ply polycarbonate or something, that would make a huge difference, and it would be worth heating. So I took the barrel stove out, as you saw, and ended up, I'm going to end up probably putting a short, more narrow raised bed down the center aisle, so to speak. Anyway, that's just a few things, but like I said, 47 outside. It's been up to 89 in today already, and it's about noonish. So yeah, temperature regulation is very important in here, and a challenge. But other than that, it's been super great, because my plants get so much more light with enough heat that they grow way faster, even from starting seeds, grow way faster than they did, you know, just in the cabin. Obviously, they got some light, but not near the light they get here. So that's it for the greenhouse so far. I've got some things obviously going on outside. Got to get the ground ready. You got another 2 weeks really before it's safe to put the warm weather plants outside. Anything that can't withstand a frost, you got to wait till about June 1st to be safe, hopefully safe. We've had frost on June 1st before. But that's it for now for what's going on. Starts more things going in, of course, and then all of these plants that are in cups and the 3-inch pots will all go in these raised beds in a couple of weeks. And once things get going, I'll give you a kind of a quick tour on that as well. Thanks for watching. If you have any comments or questions, leave them in the comment section. Please subscribe. And thanks for watching. We'll see you soon.